When Adam Andreevich's son Christian announced that he wanted to get married, Adam Andreevich was quite surprised. First and foremost, because until that moment, he considered Christian to be unserious and fickle. He had grown up as a typically spoiled boy, the son of a wealthy father, as Adam Andreevich was the head of a successful company, and Christian had never wanted for anything. "Son, you're really confusing me," Adam remarked. "Just yesterday, I found a profitable business opportunity for you, but you didn't even want to listen. And today, you're suddenly in agreement? Very well then, we'll go meet Elena and her parents this evening." "No, Dad, we won't go. This evening, I'm meeting my beloved girlfriend, Lydia. I'll only marry her. And now, adios." Christian replied and made his way out. Christian, come back." Adam called after his son, but Christian had already rushed down the stairs, hopped into the car, and driven away. Adam Andreevich called his assistant and instructed him to keep an eye on Christian. The next day, he personally watched from Eva's place as his son talked to a woman around 30 years old in the yard. She was holding a heavy package in one hand and a small boy in the other. Christian took the weight from her, and they all entered the building together. 5 minutes later, Christian exited the building, got into Eva, and drove away. Adam then went to the woman. He was deeply upset. Not only was she older than Christian, but she also had a child. Adam approached two elderly ladies and inquired on which floor the woman, who had just passed by with her child, lived. The talkative old ladies shared information and even told him the apartment number. Adam thanked them and proceeded to the designated floor. The woman who had recently been escorted by his son answered the door. Adam wanted to immediately demand that she leave Christian alone. But as soon as he looked at her face, he froze in surprise. Before him stood Christina. Adam had known Christina and her older sister Nadezhda since childhood. His brother Grisha had dated Nadezhda for a few years and then married her. Christina used to tag along with Adam back then, but she was 5 years younger and didn't interest him at all. Then, Lena came into his life, Christian's mother, and he married her. Christina had come to see him before his wedding, crying, professing her love. However, Adam believed it was just a childhood crush and didn't take her seriously. Christian's mother passed away when he was 4 years old, and Adam had been raising him on his own ever since. He never thought about Christina even once. Adam had also lost touch with his brother, and he blamed himself for it. One day, Adam learned that he and Grisha were only half-siblings through their mother. Maybe that was why their mother, if not love, then at least had more sympathy for her older son. Understanding this drove Adam to madness with jealousy and anger. All he had achieved in life was to prove to his older brother that he was better and more capable. Once, Grigory came to his younger brother and asked for money for his newborn son's medical treatment. Grigory was a simple locksmith and lived very modestly. Adam didn't understand the situation and refused. Only a month later, when he inquired about his nephew's illness, he rushed to his brother with the money. But by then, it was too late, and the child couldn't be saved. Nadezhda opened the door wearing a black armband, and inside the house, Grigory's sobbing could be heard. Adam didn't dare step over the threshold, and since then had not seen Grisha and his wife. Soon after that, he became a widower with a little son in his arms, and now the past stood before him in the form of Lydia. Lydia raised her elegant eyebrows in surprise. "Adam, how did you find me? What do you want?" she inquired. "Christina, Lydia, you're here. I didn't know. What about Christian?" "Christian? Who's Christian?" "My son. You've just met with him. You're Christian's father. Congratulations, he's a very good boy. But what does it have to do with me?" Adam tried to explain something, got thoroughly confused, felt very foolish, and left without even saying goodbye to Lydia. She watched him go for a long time. For several days, Adam collected his thoughts. His son was dating an older woman who, for some reason, was now connected to his own past. Adam suddenly realized something he hadn't before. He liked her himself. Those minutes he spent at her door had transported him back to the past, and now he couldn't understand how he didn't see her beauty back then. He also wanted to ask her about Grigory. She was Nadezhda's sister, and she surely knew everything about him. Adam desperately wanted to seek forgiveness from his brother, but feared that Grigory might not even want to hear from him. All these thoughts bothered Adam so much that he made a significant blunder. He forgot about the meeting with the investors. To make matters worse, Adam had to arrange for a translator for the meeting since the investors were Japanese. Eva arrived at the office, the guests arrived, and Adam was still pacing around the office with his phone. Then he waved his hand, pulled himself together, and went to greet the arriving guests. They exchanged greetings, but then an awkward silence settled in. He had to extricate himself from the situation, but Adam, as the host, simply didn't know what to do. He apologized and explained that the translator had been delayed, but they didn't understand him. It was a complete failure. The Japanese investors were murmuring dissatisfiedly about something, seemingly preparing to leave. Suddenly, a young woman in a cleaning uniform approached their group. She introduced herself as Lydia and repeated Adam Andreevich's words in fluent Japanese. Then she turned to him and offered her assistance. Adam thought the heavens had sent this woman to him. The meeting proceeded splendidly, the guests were satisfied, and the agreement was signed. After seeing them off, Adam invited his savior to his office. "Now please tell me, who are you and how did you end up here?" he inquired. "I've been working as a cleaner in your office for a whole month." "Why didn't you mention that you speak Japanese?" "Well, I also speak French and German. I've had a knack for languages since childhood. No one ever asked, so I kept silent." "Dear Lydia, starting today, you are our translator. Be prepared to always be by my side, not only here but also during international trips." At that moment, Christian entered his father's office. He looked at Christian with surprise and then said, "Have you two already met? I hope, Dad, you haven't said anything foolish to Lydia." "Didn't understand." Adam shifted his gaze from his son to the young woman. "Dad, this is Lydia, my fiancée. I told you about her. I'm marrying her, even if you're against it." "Christian, you can't imagine how much I'm in favor of it. Your Lydia is very clever. But tell me, who is that woman with the child, also named Christina? I'm completely confused." "That's our neighbor, Lydia. I just helped her with her bags," Christian replied. "Is fiancée then Chandin? Do you know Christina Pavlovna? Our apartments are next to each other." Now, Adam understood everything. He had simply mixed up the apartments, but it was so strange that he encountered a woman from his past there. "Olga," he addressed the young woman, "what do you know about your neighbor?" "There's some tragic story there. Her sister and her husband died in a car accident, leaving only their little son. And it's Christina Pavlovna who is raising him." Christian and Lydia looked at Adam with surprise as he rushed out of the office. He headed to where he could find more details. Could it be true? Could he have been late again with his remorse? Being late now was as terrifying as it was the first time, and there he stood once more with a guilty head, before the one who had once loved him. "Lydia, did Grisha and Linda die? Is it true?" he asked. "Yes," she nodded. "How? How could this happen? Tell me," he pleaded. "What's there to tell? They were driving home from work. It was raining, and the visibility was very poor. The collision with the truck was severe. The doctors said there was no chance for them. Carl stayed with me. That's how we live. If you only knew how much I regret it. It's not your fault for what happened. Now go, Adam. You have your life, and we have ours. I didn't expect we'd ever cross paths again, or I wouldn't have come here." Adam wanted to say more, but Christina closed the door in front of him. Several days passed. Adam was happy for his son, who was preparing for his wedding, but the pain that had settled in Adam's soul continued to throb without respite. He visited Lydia's place a few times, but she wouldn't open the door, and she didn't answer his calls. Still, he didn't give up on his attempts to meet her. One day he visited Lydia again, and saw that the door to her apartment was open. She had doctors attending to her. She was being rushed to the hospital with a severe attack, and no one knew what to do with the boy who watched it all with wide eyes. Christina was taken away. Adam approached the child. "Is your name Carl?" "Yes, I'm Uncle Adam. How about you come visit me? Let's go." The boy spent 2 months with Adam. During this time, Christina was in the hospital, where she underwent a successful operation and was now recovering under the watchful eye of doctors. Adam covered all the expenses: a good room, medications, medical services, and nurses. He learned that Christina had come to the city for a medical examination and had coincidentally rented an apartment across from his son's fiancée. Over the course of Lydia's illness, Adam grew very fond of Carl, and the boy, too, had grown attached to his kind and caring Uncle Adam. They went together for Lydia's discharge. She walked out and warmly greeted them with a smile. Adam understood that she could forgive him, and he was determined to do everything he could to make that happen. Time passed. Christina and Adam were married. Now they had a large family. Christina had recently given birth to twins, and Carl enjoyed playing with his little brother and sister. Adam believed that happiness, once entering their home, would never leave it.